Have you ever wondered what Jesus looked like back in the days when there were no photos and no paper? It just so happens that recently a stone was found with the face of Jesus engraved on it. So let's talk about this more in today's video. Make sure to watch this video till the end. Hello and welcome back to Museum Media. So Emma Maayan-Fanar, an art historian from the University of Haifa in Israel, was looking for shade from the desert sun when she saw the face of Jesus. Apparently, Emma had been studying crucifixes and other motifs on the stone lintels of ancient churches and houses in Shivta, the ruined city in the Negev Desert. Even though it was February, Emma found some shade under one of the few intact roof pieces left at the site, in the baptistery of the northernmost of the three ruins churches in the ancient city. As she looked out from the stones, she saw the very faint traces of a portrait of Jesus Christ at his baptism in the Jordan River, painted on the ceiling of the building 1,500 years ago. She said that everyone describes it as like a miracle, and it was for a moment. Emma called her husband, Dror Mayan, the photographer for the Israeli academic team working at Shivta, to take pictures of the paintings on the stones of the baptismal font. The results of their 2017 find were just published in Antiquity. This heavily eroded painting is now thought to be the earliest representation of Jesus Christ found in Israel and one of the few images from that period with details of his face. The ancient Christian ruins in the desert town date from between the 4th and 6th AD. In fact, another painting discovered at Shivta a few years ago shows Christ at his transfiguration, another key event described in the Christian Gospels, which are thought to have been written in the 1st century after the death of Jesus. That painting, too, is heavily eroded. It shows only an outline of the figure of Christ and a single eyebrow. However, the painting on the ceiling of the northern baptistery was a building used for baptisms and containing the baptismal font, which shows most of the face of Christ as a young man with short curly hair. Maayan-Fanar says iconography of Christ with short hair was widespread in the Eastern Byzantine Empire, especially in Egypt and Syria-Palestine, but it was eventually displaced by Byzantine images of Christ with long hair, which remains a common portrayal today. According to her, Christ was also shown as a young man, since his baptism in the Jordan symbolized a new birth. For the same reason, the painting shows a larger figure of John the Baptist, who is said to have presided at Christ's baptism in the Christian Gospels. In their study of the baptistery painting, Maayan-Fanar and her colleagues say Christ looks like a young man with short curly hair, a prolonged face, big eyes, and an elongated nose. It represents a 6th century convention of Christ's appearance rather than his actual appearance, which is not described in the Gospels. She said, "It would be wonderful, but how would we know?" Moreover, Shivta's ruins are about 25 miles southwest of Beersheba in southern Israel. The region is now a national park and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The desert city dates back to at least the 1st century. In Byzantine times, it is believed to have served as a stopover for pilgrims heading to St. Catherine's Monastery in the Sinai Peninsula. Shivta declined as a population center during the early Islamic period from the 6th to the 9th century and was abandoned until it was discovered again in the 19th century. Shivta's ruins were explored by English archaeologists in the 1870s and were first studied scientifically in 1914 by C.L. Woolley and T.E. Lawrence. The latter archaeologist became famous and well known during World War I as Lawrence of Arabia, a leader of the Arab revolt against Ottoman Turk rule. The archaeologists who explored the ruins of the desert city in the late 1920s briefly mentioned that there were details of a painted scene on the baptistery ceiling of the northern church, but they did not write down any other details, Maayan-Fanar explained. Using high-resolution photography equipment and the light conditions in the baptistery at the time of the painting's discovery, the Christ portrait was recovered. She said that, "If you don't have a good camera and a good photographer, nothing will be visible." Using modern conservation methods, the painting will be recovered as much as possible, she said. It has to be done very carefully. The condition of the painting is very sensitive. Maayan-Fanar said, "I think much is hidden under the erosion. It is actually a much fuller image." And that's it for today's video. We hope you liked the video. Make sure to give it a thumbs up, and for more such content, subscribe to the channel. We'll see you in the next one.